Welcome back, guys, for part 3 of the Solidworks tutorial C8 Corvette. On the last tutorial, part 2, uh, we created these bodies here, these surfaces here, and then we mirrored it over to the other end. And we did not do the knit surfaces yet. So let's have a look up from the top here, normal to profile, and then yes, it's we did trim this back already, and then that's how we mirrored it over to the other end. And at this point, I'm thinking that we're going to create this section here, and then probably this section. But let's have a look. Let's have a look on the real pictures how we are doing on that, and then maybe this one here. Okay, so as you can see, that section there's actually where did I, that one is even better. So as we can see, we created this section here, and this section we created yesterday. And then we have another section, a complete triangle section that will bleed into the front here. And then there's going to be another section. So we're going to create this one, and this one is probably going down. And this one is quite straight, but it's still lower than this section here as a little bit, as you can see. So if we jump over to our SolidWorks, yes, you can see that we have 1 and 2 there. So this line here, this curve will bleed into that curve. So this curve will bleed into this area here. So that's how we will try to go about it. So let's have a look at the picture again. Uh, Yes, it does bleeds into it, and it seems like it have a sharp turn at one point. It has a sharp turn somewhere here, and it comes down in this section. Let's have a look at another picture, maybe a top view, and we can see it better. So let's have a look at this one here. Uh, to me, right. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so that section does go bleed down, and this one goes down like that, and that bleeds down all the way to the end. So that's what we're going to hopefully create here. So let's start with this section. So let's make a sketch on the top plane here for a second, and then let's grab a spline, and we're gonna start our spline from about let's start it from this here all the way. We do want to connect with this one here. So let's connect to that edge. And then we bring out the spline following this line here, something like that. Exit the sketch, and now we're gonna click on that and then get our profile the way we want it. So let's pull this out to about here and zoom in here, something like that. At this point, we can try maybe um, a curvature comb just to get things straightened out here. Right. That one goes that way, this one goes this way. Okay. All right. And then that looks not so bad. Okay, so let's take out the control show curvature chromes. Okay, so let's stick with this this spline, and then let's create our other sketch, and then right. So so for our next curve, we're going to exit this sketch, and for our next curve, we are going to grab a sketch from this edge here. So let's make a sketch on this plane, and then what we're going to do is we're going to convert entities, offset. We're going to offset the entities. We're going to offset this entity here, and then we're going to just add 0 because we want it right on the edge, but then it drops it in the middle. So let's not do that. Instead, let's see what we have here. Offset entities, convert entities. So let's try convert entities. So let's try this edge and then convert entities, and it drops it in the middle as well. So Control Z. Okay, so surfaces, sketch, mirror. Mirror entities. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, so yeah, so basically what we're going to do is offset the entity, and then we're going to offset it to 0, and then drops it right where we want it. Okay, so we're going to check that, and then we're going to add a normal to profile. I want to make this line longer on both sides, so I'm gonna stretch it out on both sides, and we are on that edge over there. Okay, so let's see if we're long enough. Maybe we're gonna stretch it out a little bit more, just so that we have enough surface to work with. So let's stretch it out to about there. Okay, that's good. Let's let me see, still recording. Yes, we are. Okay, so exit the sketch, and then we're just going to do another project curve. We're going to do sketch on sketch, and then that is flush with that one, that surface there. So let's have a look at the pictures again, and so the right, so that this edge here, as I'm saying it, we created this curve here. It seems like it's a little bit, it's not exactly straight with that one, so we might have to go back and edit our offset curve so that it uh, drops down a little bit, so our bonnet is have a little bit of profile here. So let's do that. Okay, so let's press OK on that, and then we go back to our future tree, and then we come down here, and then we want to edit this sketch, and to edit that sketch there. And then what we want to do is we want to pull it down maybe a tiny bit or not. Let's leave it like this and see what kind of surface we can get out of this one, and then we go from there. So let's jump over to our default. This is our second display state, and that's the curve that we are working with. And let's have a look what we got. We can hide this curve here. Okay. And it is touching the corner here is what we were looking for. And then we have that curvature there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab a 3D sketch. We're going to grab a 3D sketch, and then we're going to grab our spline, and then we're going to snip here and to that edge. And we're going to pull this all the way up to the end to get a coincidence relationship. And then we want to get a coincident relationship on that one. And then we go jump back to our first display state. Get on the top of this. And then let's just pull it into shape of roughly what we are looking for. Okay, so what we can do at this one as well is we can click that, press Control, and then click that, and then make tangent. And the sketch is already defined, so we don't have to do that. So we can Control Z and just leave it as is. Maybe we can pull this just down just a little bit in that way, that direction, and that creates our surface there. And then because our surface, because our spline goes all the way down, we will keep this spline, but we have to create a 3D sketch on the top of this spline so we can create our surface. So let's exit this sketch. Let's exit for a second. Let me actually let me see if I can edit that sketch. See that in this way how we're looking. Okay, so basically this is the point where it's maybe a good idea if we bring in our front view into our design. So let's do that. Exit the sketch, and then click on that and sketch, and then we're gonna jump over here to add a sketch picture of our front view. Oh, that's actually not the one that we are looking for. What we want is the blueprinted one. I will leave a download link to this blueprint in the description. So let's jump into the sketch pictures back, and then let's find our blueprint, which is this one. Okay, and then press normal to profile and try to add this somewhere in the middle. And again, we're gonna come down where the edge of the vehicle is. We want to make this the end of the tire straight with the other ones. Okay, so let's maybe we go from this section. We will create. Okay, so let's try that. Let's press OK on that. And then we're going to create a plane on this section, so just so we can align things the way it should be. So press sketch on the top plane, press normal to profile, and add a center line. And we're adding the center line from this section, exit, and then we adding a plane onto that one. Select the line, select a line first and then select a point. Press OK on that. And then we're going to sketch. We're going to sketch on this plane. Press to normal to profile. So normal to profile. And now we can grab our sketch picture and then pull it down where it meets the top of the car. We can also we can also add a line. So just so we can use the tire, the edge of the tire, roughly. This is where it's straight, and to me the tires are lining up, and then of course the car body kind of curves up that way, but the top of the vehicle, it is in perfect alignment. Let's try another line here. The top of the wing mirror, and that is straight, so that's good in terms of that. Now if we jump back, exit this one, and we will hide those planes. Let's make this a little bit smaller, the sketch plane. Okay, grab it already. Okay, something like that. Press normal to profile in the front, and just try to align it somewhere in the middle, something like that. Okay, and then now press OK on that, and we jump back to our plane here again, normal to profile, and check if things are still in line and the tires are still lining up. So the top of the vehicle is roughly okay. All right, so now we can hide this plane here, or possibly delete it. We can delete that and the sketches as well, and then we can delete. We can delete this sketch as well because we don't need it. All right. Okay, so that's good. So now basically we can align the edge of this line that we wanted to align in the first place. So let's try to grab that. Okay, so edit sketch, and then we're going to press spacebar and then click on that. That's not gonna show us what we're looking for. Exit the sketch. So to make it a little bit more transparent, make our sketch picture transparent, we're gonna click on it, and then we're gonna come down here and say user defined, and then we're going to check transparency, Control Z to for some reason it jumped out of place. Okay. Let me have a look again. Normal to profile. Okay, we're still in the middle, so that's good. Okay, so right, so let's have a look at that one. Okay, so let's have the second display state, and then edit the sketch. Edit the sketch. Exit the sketch. Yeah, so as you can see, it's actually quite straight. However, we can maybe add a little bit, just a little bit. That's good. Maybe bring this up like that, and that looks good to me. So okay, so let's now jump back to our first display state, and then just double check everything is lining up, and it is. So now let's jump back to our second display state here, and then hide our sketch picture that we just recently add. So let's hide that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is grab a 3D sketch. I hope you've been. I hope that you've been able to follow me on some of the steps here, and I'm clear on uh, saying whatever I'm saying. Okay, guys. As I said before, we are learning together. I'm learning all the time, and at the same time you're learning and I'm learning. So let's get a. I haven't. I'm not sure if I grabbed it already. So let's come in here and grab a 3D sketch, and then we're going to grab a spline, and then we're going to just snip here, and then we're just gonna stay on this line, just like that. And from this, we're gonna be able to create our surface that we're looking for. Okay, so come all the way to the edge, maybe one more here, and this edge here, so that's fine. Okay, so now we can leave this curve here and then use these two edge and this one to create our surface. So let's jump into our surface and then exit, and let's jump in here, and let's try a fill surface. Okay, so let's check this edge, uh, this line, and this line here. I'll wait for it to patch it up. Okay, so it's patched it up for us now. We don't have any constraint curve at this point, so we don't need to select that. So that looks good to me. So press OK on that, and then we have that surface there that we just created there. Okay, so we're going to leave this spline here floating for now, and then what we're going to do is mirror it over to the other end. And as we did it before, we just press mirror, and we're just gonna select the front plane, and of course bodies to mirror. So let's have a look how that looks. Okay, all right, so let's jump back into our first display state here, and then let's remove let's not let's have a look first from the top how we're looking, and it looks pretty good. So right, so we don't we don't need to trim away anything at this point. uh, it seems like it comes all the way to this point, so that's good. All right, so let's take off our appearance, remove appearance. Let's take off the appearance, and let me have a look if we're still recording. Yes, we are. And then we still have this side and that side, and let's have a look at our pictures of what we have. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit. So in terms of the bonnet, it triangle stopped here, which we did, so that's good. And then what we have now is this side here, and it curves down to a point, and then it curves down, it curves all the way back around here. Okay, so let's try to create that. So as we saw it on real picture, it curves down and then curves all the way back to this point here. Okay, so let's have a look from the front. Let's have a look from the front, from the actually the right plane. It's called. Double click on that, and then so like I said before, the blueprint image is not really uh, what we are going after, but it's just give us a reference points and reference geometries that we're looking for. But what we are going for, and what you should going for is a real picture. However, if you have, I'm not saying, but if you have a particular blueprint that you have to follow, then yes, you should follow that. But just for this exercise of surfacing and creating surface bodies, uh, we're going after the real picture. So right. So from this image, it's a bit hard to see, but what we want is create this here. The only thing we can see from this is this part here that goes something like that, right? Okay. Um, right. So let's have a look at our picture, this picture here. And then if we zoom in, you can see that it starts from, yeah, it starts from exactly from this corner. It starts from this corner, comes out, wraps around and wraps around into that corner there. Uh, right? Okay, so it wraps around all the way there. So if we if we create a sketch, well, let's have a look at the picture again. Okay, so yeah, it curves down. It curves downways, right? Uh, so that curve. So we can create the first curve from the top plane, and then we can create the second. So obviously it's going to drop down, and I assume that this line is somewhere follows this edge here. It's as low as this edge. So let's create that. Okay, so let's create our first sketch on the top plane and normal to profile. Right. So let's grab a spline, and then we're gonna come from here, uh, and then uh, this one, this corner, and this corner. Okay. So now we can come in here and manipulate our sketches the way we want it. Okay, that's good. Okay, so yeah, just manipulate it so you get the shape what we are looking for here, something like that, and then that curves around like that. Okay, so that's a pretty straight line there, pretty straight line, and it curves all the way around that section. And let's pull this into here, and then let's try to do something on this. So you can always add an extra spline point if you need to, but already that looks good to me. So maybe we can grab that and move it around just so we can get the right curvature that we want. All right. Um, maybe if we make it a little bit more straight, grab that, possibly pull it down or pull it up, so make it straighter. Okay, and that looks good to me. So yeah, so we're gonna leave that curve there as it is, and that's the edge of the bonnet, and it wraps around and touches it there. Okay, so let's exit this sketch. Let's exit that sketch, and our second sketch. Um, so yes, so we have this sketch here, and it is touching the corners that we need. So now we have to create our second sketch, and as we talked about before, and looked at the pictures, um, we created uh, we created this sketch here, and then it seems like it. Let's have a look at from the top, because we can see a lot better from there. Right. So let's zoom in on this one, and yes, it has a nice corners and it's straight down. So if we yes, we will go back on that. So yeah, so the second sketch, that we need, what we need to define, is the shape of it. So it seems like that we have that from the top plane, this section here, but then we have to now create the one that is on the front. So um, as we can see, it's somewhere on about the same height as this corner here, this section here. Perhaps maybe a little bit lower, but to me it seems like it's on the same level. So let's have a look at that. Let me just go back to the picture. That is that one there. So it's that inner sketch here, this one here, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a sketch on this plane, and we're going to offset this line here and into 0, and then we're gonna come in here and stretch it out, so it stretches out on both ways. Okay, so it encompasses what we're looking for. Okay, so now that we have these two sketches, let's exit this sketch, and let's create our curvature, and hopefully it is what we're looking for. So let's jump over here to project curve, and select this sketch and this sketch, and then on this end it's let's press OK and have a look on the second display state, how that curve looks like. So if we jump over to our second display state, second display state, right? Okay, so if you come over here, right? So it's not touching our corner. And if we have a look from this angle here, and because we used this edge to project it out, it will fall. It should fall. Well, let's have a look at the picture that we have here. Yeah, so as you can see, it curves down, and then you can see a lot better on this one. So it curves down and then it comes up. So it almost comes into level with this one. So we're good there. So we're going to use this curve. We're going to use this curve. And then let's bring back our first display state and then just have a look from the top. And we are looking good from the top here. So that's good. Okay. Right. And because they're not touching the corners, which is important for us to touch the corners, uh, what we're going to do is obviously this edge does not drop down in a way that is telling us that it's dropping down in that section. Let's have a look at the picture here again. So instead that curvature is touching the corner and then wraps around like that. So it needs to touch that corner. So what we're going to do, of course, we're gonna jump into a second display state. And then we're gonna grab a 3D sketch and our 3D spline. And we're going to snip to this corner. And then we're just going to follow this line here. And just like that. This small side here. So with nice curvature all the way to the top. Okay, so if we have a look at now our curvature, let's have a look at our pictures. Actually, you look at it straight and then like that. So we go to the front here, drops down. Right. Let's bring back our first display state here and then just to reference it, let's have a look at from the top and then let's have a look at from the side, from the right plane. Okay. So as you can see, that line is actually goes straight out like that. So okay, so I'm not very happy. I'm not happy with with this curvature at all. So let's jump back here and delete this 3D curve that we created. And let's delete it. And let's edit this curvature here. And the curve that we need to edit is the stop one. And we're going to edit that sketch. Because we want to be able to snip to the edges. That is not snipping to the edge that we're looking for. So let's delete this curve here. Or let's keep it. Let's keep it and then we can use it as a reference. So let's take a spline again and then let's snip from this corner here. And then go back to our normal to profile. Right. So let's use that and then let's use our offset curve to snip to this edge here. So we want to snip to this edge, not the inner edge. So when we do it, yeah, right. So the one that is up, this one here. Great. Okay. All right. So let's take this spline and then let's move it up. Let's move it up to here like that. And press OK on that. And that's going to be the smaller line that we're going to. Okay, so let's okay, still recording. Right. Okay, so let's delete this here, this whole thing. All right. Okay, so that's good. And now if we go and jump into our projected curve, and then we choose the smaller, well, come back in here, edit the sketch, and we're going to cut away the longer curves. And that's right. Okay, so let's control Z to get those back. And then let's create let's just hide this long one. Oh, it will hide the other one as well. Okay, so let's just delete it. Okay, so let's do it again. So sketch on the front plane. Okay, and then we're gonna grab a spline, and we're gonna go from this corner to this corner here, this point. Okay, exit that sketch, and then let's pull it up into that so that we have that curvature. Okay, so that's good. So exit the sketch, and now we should have the curvature that we're looking for. Hopefully, it's not shorter. Let's grab a projected curve sketch on sketch, of course. Let's grab that too. And now if we jump into our second display state, our curvatures are touching the edges, and that's exactly what I was looking for. And then that's perfect. So it will curve down. We will create a 3D curve, a 3D sketch again to create that drop down in that section. So let's bring in our first display state here, and let's have a look at on the top, from the top. And then that is perfect. Okay, good. All right, so next thing to do now is we're going to jump back into a second display state here, and then we're going to go back to our feature tree, and then we're going to mark this curve as we're going to rename this we're going to rename this curve to construction, or we're just going to rename it curve 1, curve 1 back. So we will come back to it. Okay, and then we're going to hide it. Going to hide that curve. Okay, so now what we want to do is grab a 3D sketch. Just gonna jump out of the sketch here. Grab a 3D sketch, and then we're going to grab a spline and then add one here to this edge. And then let's have a look at the picture here one more time. Okay, and then we're going to add one more spline to the top. Okay, and then we're just going to create that drop down as it is on the picture. So let's turn it this way. Okay. All right. So let's pull these triggers down in that direction, and let's pull this down in this direction. Okay. All right. So exit the sketch, and then let's jump into our surfaces and then boundary surface, and let's choose this edge and this edge, and already that's going to cause us some issues here for some reason. Let's try adding our curvatures, our 3D sketches. So that's one, and then that's two, and that smoothed it out for us already. So that's good. So press OK on that, and then yes, now we have that surface that we were looking for. Okay, so let's quickly mirror that over, but hide this sketch for now. Hide this sketch for now, and let's mirror that over to the other side. Mirror, and of course, again, we're going to choose front plane, and then bodies to mirror, which is this one, and then mirror it over, and then yeah, that completes our bonnet of this C8 Corvette. And to be honest with you, I'm quite satisfied with it. However, we will come back to it later on, and maybe do some adjustment on the curvatures if needed. Let's just quickly take off the lines for a moment, and then let's knit everything together, all surfaces. Okay, so now there is one surface, and then we're going to add a appearance, probably metallic, or let's just try a painted car, and then we're going to try gloss blue for whole body. And then let's find something like that. Okay, so basically that completes this tutorial for part 3 of the C8 Corvette. I'm just going to make a snip of this uh, for our thumbnail. So let's save that to our desktop. Okay, so that completes this tutorial, and then we will continue on the rest of the body parts in the next tutorial. So thank you very much for joining me again, and then see you back in part 4. Okay, thank you very much.